It's Friday, July 14. In the headlines, Mandeville Health Center, a smart healthcare facility. In business news, JMMB secures major deals in Guyana and Jamaica. Regionally, Antigua and Barbuda molds possible return of U.S. Embassy. Internationally, Hollywood actors announce historic strike. And in sports, a look at the West Indies versus India first test match, day 1. This is the weekend news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is urging Jamaicans to remain vigilant against COVID-19, but not panic.
What has happened over time is that the virus and the threat that it represents has to a large extent subsided, even though the virus still remains in the population. And there are some people who are more vulnerable than others. And there are some places that tend to be more susceptible for persons to pick up the COVID virus.
Minister Tufton was speaking at the handover of the Mandeville Health Center, which is now a smart healthcare facility. The health center was fully retrofitted to a Gold Project Resilient standard to improve its resistance to disasters. Dr. Leighton Ellis from Alvear Limited was part of the team contracted for the project.
We would have had some changes, as we said, towards the solar PV that are existing on the roof, and you'll see them as you journey throughout the facility. But to do that effectively, we had to strengthen the roofing as well. So you'll note some of the transformations made to underneath the surface of that to strengthen the roofing in the event of a hurricane event or thereafter. And of course, you'd see the solar panel on the inside. So as you see behind us, if you were to journey around to some large water tanks, and those would have been there to improve the water usage throughout the entire facility as well as storage. We have an underground water tank. You won't be able to see most of it, but you'll be able to see the finished surface of it as you go through. But it's a very large 15,000 gallon water tank, which allows for rainwater harvesting. So you will see the guttering throughout, that it allows for additional storage. And of course, in the event of a fire, we have enough water on site to be able to treat with that issue at a very quick response rate, even though the fire department is close by. But we could treat.
The project was funded through the Pan American Health Organization and UK Aid. Caribbean Development Director from Foreign Commonwealth Office, Malcolm Gear, said the aim of the project is to create blueprints for more disaster-resilient structures.
We started this journey by auditing more than 400 medical facilities right across the Caribbean in 7 different countries. We then designed a blueprint, a model for making them more resilient, safer, but also more efficient. We designed 3 standards: gold standard, silver standard, and bronze standard. And gold standard facilities, such as this one, is designed to withstand a Category 5 hurricane or an earthquake or severe flood.
Now for some news from the Cabinet Office. Several contracts were approved this week, including a US $1.3 million contract for EY Services for consultation regarding Phase 4 of the Comprehensive Salary Review. Information Minister Robert Morgan made the announcement this week at post-Cabinet press brief. Contracts have also been awarded for the distribution of textbooks.
This was under the Ministry of Education's National Textbook Loan Scheme for the academic year 2023 to 2024, and in keeping with an endorsement from the Public Procurement Commission, this was to the tune of $152 million to Carlong Publishers Limited.
Minister of Education and Youth Favour Williams, who was also in attendance, informed that textbook distribution has already begun and all designated books should be delivered by the end of July. Wednesday saw the launch of the 9th staging of the Christmas in July trade show at the AC Marriott Hotel in Kingston. Christmas in July is a tourism linkage initiative showcasing products from local manufacturers and artisans staged by partners in the tourism industry, led by the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Speaking at the trade show, Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett said the event's staging helps provide opportunities for artisans and small and medium-sized enterprises.
One is to identify our small and medium enterprises, then to provide training and development, human capital development, which is central to their capacity to innovate and to be creative and to expand and to do more. And secondly, to provide capital that is required, to provide funding through the JBDC loan arrangement and through the $1 billion that I put at the Exim Bank for the small and medium enterprises.
Time now for the business report with Danita Rodney.
Welcome to the extended business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney. In this week's report, Vertex SMB Holdings, a JMMB Securities managed private equity vehicle launched less than a year ago, has successfully closed 2 deals securing minority stakes in businesses in Guyana and Jamaica. The news was revealed by General Manager of JMMB Securities, Kareem Tomlinson, during the company's investor briefing held this week.
We've invested in 2 completed deals, as you've seen here, one being a quick service restaurant operator out of Guyana that is growing, at a rate of knots, both in Guyana, and is looking to also grow across the Caribbean. And, we are positioning ourselves to help to support that Caribbean-wide growth. So, we're viewing that investment very positively today. The second one is one that will probably be announced fairly shortly. And it's an investment in a major car rental company, and I'm sure you'll hear more details on that as we progress.
According to Tomlinson, Vertex boasts a robust pipeline of more than 20 deals, which the company expects to convert into investments shortly.
So we are on a strong positive trajectory, and we intend to continue to utilize our discipline investment approach, and we will be deploying that 1.5 billion in short order, right? So I think the future for the private equity business line being in the alternative investment space continues to be bright. It is one of those business lines that is it again provides that type of diversification benefits where it is able to benefit through different business cycles.
Jamaica's Industry and Commerce Minister, Senator Albin Hill, is urging a review of how earnings from exports are calculated locally. Speaking at the opening of the Christmas in July showcase on Wednesday, Senator Hill said the country is already exporting services in several areas, including tourism and business process outsourcing.
I want to see the earnings from tourism and the global digital services calculated in our exports. Right now, they're not. The export figures are terrible. We'll talk about that another time possibly. But today, I want to make sure we understand that everybody who works in the tourism business, in the BPO business, is a natural exporter, and that's vital to this country.
Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Thursday, July 13, the US dollar sold for an average of $155.62. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $118.56. The pound sterling traded for $201.27, and the euro sold for $175.03. In JSE trading, the JSE index declined by 863 points. The junior market index advanced by 56 points. The combined market index declined by 286 points, and the All Jamaican Composite Index declined by 1,227 points. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 104 stocks, of which 49 advanced, 41 declined, and 14 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, Access Financial Services Limited, and AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, Verba Preference, Barita Investments Limited, and Berger Paints Jamaica Limited. trading firm were Blue Power Group Limited, CAC 2000 Limited, and Cargo Handlers Limited. The overall volume leaders were Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with over 2 million units, Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial, and Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with over 1 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, zero securities traded. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, Goddard Enterprises Limited was the sole security trading over 7,000 shares. In regional business, small-scale farmers who suffered massive losses during a recent disease outbreak in chickens brought on by smuggling will have access to cheaper and healthier chicks and bank loans following interventions by the government.
President Dr. Irfan Ali on Friday announced that through the Guyana Market Corporation GMC, small-scale farmers will have access to chickens at a cheaper cost. The announcement was made during consultations with the farmers at the Arthur Chong Conference Center in Lilliandale.
We have committed last week to pay for the vaccines that are needed now. I think it's $29 million. That investment by the government will avoid the $6 increase per chick to be passed on to the farmers. So we are removing that $6 increase per chick to the farmers. We're going to pay for the vaccine. We have already ordered vaccines. I've given the instructions that the vaccines must be ordered. From last week, Wednesday to now, I was able to complete negotiations with Demerara Bank. Because one of the issues farmers there and farmers outside raise with me is the whole issue of some low-cost financing to get back into production.
The president has held multiple consultations with the farmers to address the issue, and he explained that with these interventions, the Demerara Bank Limited has agreed to provide small farmers who apply for loans that are $500,000 and less with an interest rate of 3.5%. For loans that are between $500,000 and $1 million, the interest rate is 4%, and loans that are $1 million to $5 million will have an interest rate of 5.5%. In addition, a project implementation unit, which composes of a team from several technical agencies in the agriculture sector, will assist these farmers. Further, the farmers will soon benefit from some 25,000 acres of land for farmers to grow rice. This adds to the ongoing production of corn, which in turn supplement the feed given to ducks and chicken. He said that government is also preparing for the increase in production by providing storage units for the chicken.
In international business, U.S. stocks extended recent gains to end higher as data showed the annual increase in producer inflation was the smallest in nearly 3 years.
The Dow gained fractionally, while the S&P 500 added nearly 1% and the Nasdaq jumped more than 1.5%. The Producer Price Index, which came on the heels of Wednesday's consumer price data, provided more evidence that inflation pressures were subsiding and helped support the view that the Federal Reserve may stop hiking rates after an expected 25 basis point increase later this month. But Shana Orzik-Sizzle, founder and CEO of Bonrian Capital Management, says while inflation cooled in May and June, it could reaccelerate in the coming months and cause the Fed to keep its foot on the gas.
If you think about a year ago, we had the hottest prints for inflation in May of 2022 and June of 2022. We saw month-over-month inflation rise 0.9% in May 2022 and 1.2% in June of 2022. So our endpoint bias here is giving us a pretty low inflation number, but we could see that accelerate in July and August because the comparatives from a year ago are going to be quite low.
Among the day's best performers, U.S. chip stocks rallied, with NVIDIA jumping nearly 5% to a record high, and the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index touching its highest level since January of 2022. PepsiCo climbed more than 2% after the company raised its annual revenue and profit forecasts for the second time. And shares of Google parent Alphabet gained more than 4% after it said it was rolling out its artificial intelligence chatbot Bard in Europe and Brazil, easing worries about overseas regulatory issues.
In market data for oil, global benchmark Brent crude hovered above $81 a barrel on Friday, with bullish sentiment over U.S. demand bolstered by supply disruptions in Libya and Nigeria. Brent crude futures were 30 cents down at $81.06 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate crude 34 cents lower at $76.55. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney. Back to you, Simone.
In regional news, we start with Antigua. The announcement of the location for 2 new United States embassies in the Eastern Caribbean is not expected before at least another 18 months. That's the update from U.S. Ambassador to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean during an exclusive interview with ABS News. Garfield Burford reports.
A glitzy event at Jumbie Bay Resort celebrating the United States' 247th anniversary of independence. July 4 is the U.S.'s Independence Day, but the celebration was held a little over a week later in Antigua and Barbuda.
God bless the United States and long live the government of the United States, long live their freedoms, and long live the friendship between Antigua and Barbuda and the United States. Cheers.
Prime Minister Honorable Gaston Brown hailed what he says has been a strengthening of the relationship between the U.S. and Antigua and Barbuda and the wider Caribbean in recent times. He says, though, there is more to be done in collaborating in key areas, including the preeminent challenge of our times.
We see the United States as a partner to address this issue of climate change, to reduce emissions, and obviously not only to protect Antigua and Barbuda as a country on the front lines, but also to protect all human civilization. So I give this commitment that Antigua and Barbuda will continue to partner with the United States and other countries to fight this existential threat that is facing all of humanity.
U.S. Ambassador to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Linda Tagliatella, assures the U.S. is a solid partner to the Twin Island state.
Antigua and Barbuda has no better friend than the United States. The United States stands with Antigua and Barbuda during good times and bad, through a global pandemic, natural disasters, and as we work towards building resilience to climate change and growing the economies of both our countries.
Geopolitical observers will be keenly poring over those comments as the U.S. and China seek to entrench their influence in this region. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Brown reaffirmed this country's hope to be the location for one of 2 new embassies being established by the U.S. in the northeastern Caribbean.
We have no clue as to where they will be, other than we can say that one should be in Antigua. And knowing too the close friendship that the ambassador and I enjoy, I'm quite sure that she'll be utilizing her good office to help us to make the case.
I pressed the U.S. ambassador in a subsequent interview about those 2 new embassies and the location for them.
One of the big issues is visas and whether we're actually going to be able to allow visas on the island. Antigua is relatively situated for the Caribbean. It's a hub for many airlines, and it obviously is a good place to be. But each of the other islands have their pros and cons, so it will be time. And the embassy will provide input to Washington, but it'll be Washington's decision.
Guyana, like many other countries in the Caribbean, is faced with a shortage of nurses, and with some of these healthcare workers forced to double up their shifts. President Dr. Ifran Ali says the country is looking to Cuba for some short-term support.
I met with a number of nurses at Georgetown Hospital, and I'm so happy for the work they are doing, that some of them are doubling up on shifts because of the shortage. The medium and long term is to train and retrain and train more than the capacity that you need. But the immediate term, for example, for nurses, is to have nurses come into the system from external sources. We're in discussion now, for example, with Cuba. Up to this morning, I had a long discussion with the ambassador to see if we can get Cuban nurses to come into the system now in the immediate period to help to fill that gap because of the tremendous shortage that we have.
That was President Dr. Irfan Ali speaking at a press conference on Wednesday. There, he acknowledged that the health sector has been particularly hard hit by labor shortages, but the government is seeking some short-term support from Cuba. Even with plans to get aid from that country and train more people to eventually work in the health sector, he noted too that more sectors, including the construction sector, have been hit by these shortages.
The Gold Scholarship Program is geared at producing people to function not only in the oil and gas sector, but in all other sectors. Notwithstanding that, we have a major problem in terms, as you rightfully pointed out, in terms of skills to meet the requirement for the oil and gas sector and to meet the requirement for the expanded construction sector and all that we're doing in the economy.
To eventually solve these woes, Dr. Ali highlighted the government's plans to get many more Guyanese trained through scholarship opportunities. The government, he said, is also helping more persons get trained and certified in technical and vocational areas. Reporting for the newsroom, Vishani Raghaber.
In international news, the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, the union representing Hollywood's film and television actors, are on strike. The group has joined the industry's writers who have been on the picket lines since May. The move has deepened the disruption of scores of shows and movies.
We are the victims here.
The union representing television and film actors announced its members are on strike as of early Friday, joining the industry's writers who have been on picket lines since May and effectively shutting down Hollywood productions. SAG-AFTRA President Fran Drescher, former star of the Nanny TV show, called the studio's response to actors' demands for higher pay insulting and disrespectful.
I am shocked by the way the people that we have been in business with are treating us. I cannot believe it, quite frankly. How far apart we are on so many things. How they plead poverty, that they're losing money left and right when giving hundreds of millions of dollars to their CEOs. It is disgusting.
Both SAG-AFTRA, Hollywood's largest union representing 160,000 film and television actors, and the Writers Guild of America are demanding increases in base pay and residuals in the streaming TV era, plus assurances that their work will not be replaced by artificial intelligence.
It is a slippery slope into a very dangerous time and a real dystopia if big business corporations think that they can put human beings out of work and replace them with artificial intelligence. It's dangerous and it's without thinking or conscience.
The board of the Actors Union unanimously authorized the walkout after a deadline to reach a new contract expired Wednesday. Studios now face their first dual work stoppage in 63 years, forcing them to halt many productions across the United States and overseas, and delivering another blow to an industry struggling with changes to its business. The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, the trade association that negotiates on behalf of Netflix, Walt Disney, and other production companies, said it was, quote, deeply disappointed that SAG-AFTRA has decided to walk away from negotiations, end quote. The group said it had offered the highest percentage increases in minimum pay levels in 35 years and substantial increases in pension and healthcare contribution caps, among other benefits. Hollywood stars like Matt Damon, appearing at a premiere of his upcoming film Oppenheimer, expressed support for the union.
Well, yeah, we wanted to come out and talk about it because we're really proud of it and we worked really hard on it and we wanted to, everything was all set up, so we said, well, let's just do it, and then if they call a strike, we'll go home.
The actors' strike threatens to deepen the economic damage that has rippled through California and beyond, hitting caterers, prop suppliers, and others who rely on Hollywood productions for business.
In sports, the West Indies are already facing an uphill task to get a positive result against India in the first test in Dominica after they were caught in a web of spin to be rolled over 450 on day one.
The Windies won the toss and decided to bat in the first test and lost both openers with the score on 38. The wickets continued to tumble, but it was the debutant Alec Athanaze that resisted the Indian bowlers. He faced 99 balls for his top score of 47 before being dismissed. Craig Brathwaite was the second best with 20 and Rakeem Cornwall finished on 19 and not out. The West Indies all out for 150 on the final session of the first day. Spinner Ravichandran Ashwin took top flight for for India with 5 wickets for 60 runs. India then made batting look easy. Debutant Yashavi Jaiswal took to his crease and remained on 40 not out, while captain Rohit Sharma finished the day on 30 not out. 5 of the West Indian bowlers were unable to break the unbeaten partnership, with India closing the day in a commanding position at 80 without loss, trailing by 70 runs.
Time now for the entertainment news with Alicia Steele.
What's up? We're here with another segment of PBCJ's E-News. I'm Alicia, and I'm here to bring you exciting updates on the Bob Marley movie One Love teaser that's out, the loss of singer Omi's mother, and the Windrush Caribbean Film Festival's iconic awards. Stay tuned as I get deeper into these stories. Paramount Pictures has released the first trailer for the upcoming Bob Marley biopic titled Bob Marley, One Love. The film stars Kingsley Ben-Adir as Bob Marley and Lashana Lynch as Rita Marley. It is set to premiere on January 12, 2024. The trailer offers a glimpse into Marley's life, focusing on the years 1976 and 1978, including the attempted assassination, the making of his Exodus album, and the One Love Peace concert. The director, Reynaldo Marcus Green, explains that they choose the specific period to understand Bob's journey as a man and musician. The film has been in the works for several years and has involved collaborations with Paramount Pictures to ensure authenticity. The cast includes predominantly Jamaican actors, and Kingsley Ben-Adir went through extensive preparations, including weight loss and learning to play the guitar and sing. Lashana Lynch's portrayal of Rita Marley is described as powerful. Singer Omi, known for his hit song Cheerleader, announced on social media that his mother has passed away. In a heartfelt post, he reflected on his grief and expressed gratitude for being able to care for his mother before her passing. Fans and fellow entertainers have been sending their condolences. Prior to the news, Omi had been promoting his latest project, but had taken a break from music to spend time with his family. Rest easy, Mama Omi from the PBCJ family. The 2023 Windrush Caribbean Film Festival ended with the Windrush Caribbean Film Awards, which celebrated the 75th anniversary of the arrival of the Windrush ship in Tilbury Docks in 1948. The festival took place from June 6th through to the 30th across 11 venues in 5 cities, supported by the British Film Institute, BFI, and aimed at 16 to 25-year-olds. The closing ceremony included notable Caribbean personalities, filmmakers, and VIPs. Awards were given in various categories, and special recognition was given to Rudolph Walker, Alex Pascal, and Menelik Shabas. The festival aims to promote Caribbean culture and leave a legacy for future generations. TJ and Ding Dong, popular dancehall performers, received a warm reception from supporters at the send-off event for the Sunshine Girls held at Summit House in New Kingston on Tuesday night. The team is scheduled to depart Jamaica on Friday to compete in the Netball World Cup in South Africa. Here are the highlights. That's it for today's PBCJ E-News. I want to give a big shout out to Hair Addiction Collections for their incredible hair each week for the PBCJ E-News.
Thanks, Alicia. And that's the news on PBCJ. Have a pleasant weekend.